Hi, everybody. I was 38 years old, and life couldn't have been better. I left my husband, Mike Deming, in Texas and came home to Pennsylvania with our two young children, Sarah and Dan. As a full-time mom, I was an athlete, playing volleyball, tennis, and soccer. Occasionally, I'd enjoy flings with cute guys. Before finding psychologist Dr. Russell Eisenman from Temple University as a man as eccentric as I am. Seemingly overnight, in my plant-filled apartment, I became another person. The kids were in bed, and I began singing at the top of my lungs and then jumping on the furniture. The mean lady who lived downstairs began banging on the ceiling with her broom. Damn, I thought. I lay down on the couch and started having insights, as if I knew the source of all my emotions. My womb was the center of creativity. Wow, I thought, rising from the couch and recording this on a tiny scrap of paper. Paper was plentiful, since I was a writer working at Art Matters. The insights went on all night while Sarah and Dan slept. I began making phone calls in the middle of the night. I called my former boyfriend, Chris Ray, who called my mom in the morning and said I was having a nervous breakdown. In the morning, I got the kids ready for school and walked them to the bus stop. Sarah, who was always very observant, kept staring at me, though she kept quiet. I would not see her or Daniel for 3 days. My sister Donna came over and tricked me to go to my mom's house. I caused a lot of consternation, and my mother and sisters had no idea what to do with me. Finally, at 2 p.m., I set off to meet my kids' school bus. It was February 1984, and Ronald Reagan was president. I jogged down the hill, passing the park where my kids played, when suddenly my mother appeared in her chocolate brown Oldsmobile. She commanded me to get in her car and came on over to get me. I pushed her down on the ground, stood on top of her, and gave the V for victory sign. She hailed a car and told them to call the police. The cops drove me to Montgomery County Emergency Service in Norristown, PA, where I spent the 3 most horrible days of my life. In 4-point restraints, I hallucinated that I was thrown down a pit and kept clawing my way to the top, but never could make it. The myth of Sisyphus. Never have I been in such despair. A hospital should be a healing place. I was treated worse than an animal. An aide, Howard, stalked me, accusing me of stealing someone's pajama tops. In fact, someone let me wear them because it was freezing in there. I was shot up with the drug Haldol, which stopped my thought processes. I also couldn't pee, lost my sense of direction, and it was like a wounded bird wandering senselessly around the corridors. When it was time to eat, other inmates helped me find the dining room. The only redeeming feature there was the milk machine, which poured out delicious cold milk. Diagnosed later with bipolar disorder, I learned I'd had a manic episode. Over the years, I had at least 102 more episodes. I was a rapid cycler. One of its hallmark features is hypersexuality, or horniness. At the hospital, one black guy and I were sharing a huge cushion, and he said he wanted to have sex with me. I'd love to, I said, but they'll see us. Another guy, Rob, came over and gave me a nice, juicy kiss. How satisfying. After I came home from the hospital, he and I dated a while, but he was a religious fanatic, and I could barely get him into bed. He had schizophrenia. Several years later, I read in a NAMI newsletter that he had finally taken his life. My then psychiatrist, Alex Glajansky, was of immense comfort to me. He helped me start my support group, New Directions, and also validated my idea of getting a master's degree in psychotherapy at Hahnemann University. Never for a moment did I stop taking my lithium. God forbid I'd land up in Building 16 again. I was thoroughly ensconced in the land of mental illness. Everyone knew me and would call for advice. New Directions was huge. Each meeting, we had 40 to 60 people. We got our first grant from the Patricia Kind Family Foundation, which arrived in the mail. When it came, I was in one of my horrible depressions. It meant nothing to me. All that money meant nothing. Why? I was a loser. People only pretended to like me. The only reason I didn't take my own life was because of my love for Sarah and Dan. As an educated woman who got my blood labs done regularly, it was apparent I was losing kidney function from the lithium. My nephrologist said I'd have to start thinking about going on dialysis or getting a transplant. I'd rather die than go on dialysis. Sarah began tests to see if she was a match. She was. Her kidney was sewn into my lower right abdomen right here at Einstein Hospital in North Philadelphia. And there it is right now. Thank you, Sarah, if you're here. Oh, great. Okay. Now, I, who had suffered so much from bipolar disorder, stopped having episodes. I no longer had bipolar disorder. And it infuriates me that people say, well, clearly, Ruth, you were misdiagnosed. That is totally untrue. Now, although my bipolar disorder has vanished, it's important that you remain on your medication. Very important. The road of life is long and hard, filled with surprises both good and bad. My beloved younger brother, David, the family photographer, took his own life at age 29. As the Grateful Dead sing, what a long, strange trip this has been and still is. Thank you.